Pronouncements of Epicurus. All pain is easily disregarded, for severe stress is brief, and what lasts in the flesh has mild stress. It is difficult for those doing wrong to escape detection, and assurance that one will escape being caught is impossible. Necessity is bad, but one need not live with necessity. Most people rest in torpor and march in rage. We are born once, and it is not possible to be born twice, but for eternity must be no more. But you, though not Lord of tomorrow, put off happiness. We waste our lives in procrastination, and each of us dies without having had leisure. We value our character as individuals for ourselves, whether we have esteem and are admired by people or not. Therefore, esteem neighbors if it is fitting. No one seeing the bad chooses it, but lured as to a good better than an evil one is caught. The young is not blessed, but the old having lived well. For the young at the height of power is bewildered by raving chance, but the old has anchored in old age as in a harbor, and holds in secure and happy memories unexpected goods. Remove sight and company and contact, and erotic passion is loosened. One becomes old on the day one forgets the good that has been. One must not violate nature, but obey. We shall obey if we fulfill the necessary desires, and also the physical if they do not harm, while sharply rejecting the harmful. Every friendship is chosen for itself, but at the beginning it is taken for its help. Dreams are drawn neither by divine nature nor by prophetic power, but they come from spitting images. Poverty measured by the purpose of nature is great wealth, but wealth not bounded is great poverty. One must assume that the long argument and the short are directed to the same purpose. In other pursuits, the fruit comes hardly after completion, but in philosophy, delight concurs with knowledge, for enjoyment does not occur after learning, but enjoyment and learning occur at the same time. In friendship, neither those at hand nor those hesitating are to be approved, but one must even run risks for the sake of friendship. For frankly, in studying nature, I would rather speak in oracles the advantages for all people, even if no one understood, than conform to opinions to win the solid approval offered by many. One can provide security against anything else, but in regard to death, all people live in an unfortified city. Venerating the wise is a great good for those venerating. The flesh cries out not to be hungry, thirsty, or cold. For anyone having these and expecting to have them may compete with Zeus for happiness. We have need not so much of the need from friends as of the confidence concerning the need. One must not ruin the things present with desire for things absent, but consider that even these things were prayed for. Nature is weak toward the bad, not toward the good, for it is saved by pleasures, but destroyed by pains. Small in every way is the one who has many reasons for departing from life. Neither the one who is always seeking help, nor the one who never has contact is a friend. For one trades gratitude for payment, and the other cuts off hope for the future. The one saying that all things occur by necessity has no charge against the one saying that not all things occur by necessity, for he says this occurs by necessity. At the same time, it is necessary to laugh and philosophize, and manage the household, and use the remaining faculties, and never cease proclaiming the sayings of the right philosophy. The same moment is both the origin and the enjoyment of the greatest good. The love of money, if unjust, is impious, but if just, shameful. For to be sparing sordidly is unseemly even with justice. The wise, in being accustomed to necessities, is more in charge of giving a share than of receiving a share, having found such a treasure of self-sufficiency. The study of nature does not prepare one for boasting, nor for the sound of working, nor for displaying education that is fought for by many, but for being haughty and self-sufficient and proud of the greatness of themselves, not of their business. May we completely drive out our bad habits, like cowardly men who were doing great harm for a long time. We must attempt to make the later better than the previous, as long as we are on the way. But when we arrive at the limit, we must be equally glad. I learned from you that the stimulus of the flesh makes you too disposed to sexual intercourse. Provided that you do not break the laws, nor the established noble customs, nor annoy any neighbors, nor waste away your flesh, nor squander the necessities, you may indulge yourself as you wish. Yet it is impractical that you will not be restrained by one or another of these. For sexuality has never benefited, and one is beloved if one is not harmed. Friendship dances around the world, summoning us all to awaken to the blessing. Envy no one, for the good do not deserve envy, and the wicked, the luckier they are, the more they ruin themselves. We must not pretend to study philosophy, but really study it, for it is not seeming healthy that we need, but true health. Let us heal circumstances by gratitude for what has been, and in being aware that it is not possible to make undone the past. Let us release ourselves from the prison of cycles and politics. Insatiable is not the stomach, as many say, but the false opinion on behalf of the stomach that it can be indefinitely filled. All go out of life as if just born. For if the anger of parents for their children is needed, it is certainly foolish to fight against it, and not to intercede for pardon. But if it is not needed but irrational, it is very ridiculous to ignite the irrational temper, and not to seek amendment in other considerate ways. There is also a boundary to frugality, and whoever, disregarding it, sails past may experience by no boundary a shipwreck. One must follow the natural praise from others, but our concern is our own treatment. It is vain to beg from the gods what one is competent to supply for oneself. Let us sympathize with our friends, not by mourning, but by meditating. A free life cannot obtain many possessions, because business is not easy without serving masses or dynasties. But it has acquired all things in unfailing abundance, and if perhaps by chance much property. These things too are easily distributed to kind neighbors. Nothing is enough for the one to whom enough is little. The ungrateful greed of the soul makes the animal into unlimited greed for a diet of variety. Let nothing be done by you in life which will cause you fear if your neighbor becomes aware of it. For all desires, one must introduce this question: what will happen to me if the desire sought after is accomplished? And what if it is not accomplished? Also, the occurrence of some pains concerning the body is advantageous for guarding against similar ones. In a philosophical debate, the one defeated gains more by learning more. Ungrateful to the goods one has lived is the saying, "Observe the end of a long life." You are aging just as I recommend, and you have discerned how to love wisdom for yourself and for Greece. I rejoice with you. The greatest fruit of self-sufficiency is freedom. The well-born is especially concerned with wisdom and friendship. Of these, one is a mortal good, the other immortal. The untroubled for oneself and the other is undisturbed. The first part of safety is watching youth and guarding against the pestering desires that defile all things. The soul's trouble is not released, nor is worthwhile happiness created, either by possessing the greatest wealth, or by honor and respect by many, or by anything else which is from limited causes. Quotations of Epicurus. We admire self-sufficiency, not so that we may always use the frugal and plain, but so that we may have courage for these. I never reached out to conciliate the many, for what conciliated them I did not learn, and what I knew was far from their perception. Do not believe it unnatural that the soul cries out when the flesh cries out. The flesh cries not to be hungry, nor thirsty, nor cold. Also, it is hard for the soul to hinder these, and it is precarious to disregard the summoning of nature because of clinging to her own daily self-sufficiency. So the one who follows nature and not vain opinion in all things is self-sufficient. For with what is sufficient in nature, every possession is wealth, but with unlimited appetites, even the greatest wealth is poverty. If you are in difficulty, you are in difficulty insofar as you forget nature, for you throw yourself into unlimited fears and desires. It is better for you to have courage laying down on straw than to be troubled having a golden couch and a rich table. Sweet is the memory of a dead friend. Do not avoid doing small favors, for you will seem like one who does great ones. Do not turn away from your enemy's worthy demand, except keep yourself safe, for not one differs from a dog. Vain is the argument of that philosopher, which does not heal human suffering. For as there is no benefit in medical treatment if it does not expel the diseases of the body, so there is none in philosophy if it does not expel the suffering of the soul. If God followed the prayers of humans, all humans would quickly be destroyed, many praying also continually against each other. The beginning and root of all good is the pleasure of the stomach. Even wisdom and extravagance have this reference. What makes unsurpassed joy is having avoided a great evil, and this is the nature of good. If someone applies it correctly, then establishes it, and does not walk chattering idly about the good. It is better to endure some labors so that we may enjoy greater pleasures. It is expedient to abstain from some pleasures so that we may not suffer harder pain. Let us not blame the flesh as the cause of great evils, nor turn to business for our troubles. Great labors lead us out shortly, but lasting ones are not great. Excessive labor will bring you death. By loving true philosophy, every troublesome and laborious desire is released. Thanks to the blessing of nature that made necessities easy to procure, and the things difficult to procure unnecessary. It is not rare to find a person poor toward the purpose of nature, and wealthy toward vain opinions. For none of the fools is satisfied with what one has, but rather is distressed about what one does not have. Just as the feverish through the illness always are thirsty and desire the deleterious, so too the ones having a badly disposed soul are always poor in everything, and by gluttony fall into ever-changing desires. The one not satisfied with little is satisfied with nothing. The self-sufficient is most wealthy of all. Most fearing frugality through this fear proceed to actions that especially bring this about. Many fortunate with wealth have not found an escape from evils, but a change to greater ones. From the work of a beast one may heap up an abundance of substance, but a miserable life results. For through fear or unlimited and vain desire, someone may be unhappy, which if one can restrain, one may preserve for oneself blessed reason. Labor is not being deprived of these, but rather bearing the useless labor from vain opinion. The low soul is puffed up by good times and purged by the expedient things. Nature teaches one to consider things from chance smaller, and to know that being fortunate is unlucky, and being unfortunate not to assume that good fortune is great, and to receive undisturbed the good things from chance, and to stand prepared for the evil things that seem to come from this. As ephemeral is all the good and bad of the many, and wisdom has nothing in common with chance. The one least in need of tomorrow is most glad to meet tomorrow. I spit upon the beautiful and those who vainly admire it when it never creates pleasure. The greatest fruit of justice is being untroubled. Laws are established for the sake of the wise, not so that they may not do wrong, but so that they may not be wronged. Even if one can escape, it is not possible to be confident one will escape being caught. Thus fear of the future always pressing does not let them be happy or have courage in the present. When no one is present, the one attaining the goal of the race is coming near the good. The one who is causing fear is not fearless. Happiness and blessing are not an abundance of property, nor a sizable business, nor having some office, nor power, but painless and gentle feelings and a disposition of soul according to the boundaries of nature. Live unnoticed. It is necessary to say how the best may maintain the purpose of nature, and how one will not willingly from the first aim at public offices.